Hi there, welcome to the channel, and hello again if you're a return viewer. You're watching the Christchurch Review of Books, and I'm Kerry. Well, it's the first time I have done a review in about 6 weeks, it seems. I've had a lot of things going on in my little life. Sick, physically ill a couple of occasions, other things going on, work and relationships and what have you, and so it's kind of stopped the flow of these reviews for a while. Now, the good news is that I've got about 6 lined up to go, and I'm starting to record them tonight. I'm doing this on a Monday night after work, not a usual routine for me to do videos in, but I thought I'd mix it up a bit and get something done for a change. As you can see, the angle's different. You can see different part of my head, newly cut recently, and yeah, so without further ado, let's start with the first book for review in this this chain of 6 reviews which are coming up, and that is The Book of Guilt by Catherine Chidgey. Now, Catherine Chidgey is a New Zealand writer who is probably closest thing that we've got to a superstar writer these days. She's been published all over the English-speaking world and translated beyond. People overseas actually know who she is, well, in some cases. And she's very heavily promoted here at home in New Zealand. And this book, The Book of Guilt, got a lot of PR earlier this year, March, April type thing, to such an extent that it was hard to get for a little while, and that's been reprinted a couple of times since. So I got a copy in about May, and I have just finished reading it last night actually, and I can say it is a very, very good read. Now it's you know, when I think of Chidgey, I kind of think of literature with a capital L. It's always seemed very highfalutin type of thing, which hasn't really attracted me, but this is very close to what you'd call a genre book, sci-fi maybe. To explain, this book is set in 1979 in a alternate reality UK. Some things are similar. There's a female Prime Minister that's just come to power, very similar to Thatcher. She's never actually named in the book, so we don't know if it is Thatcher or not. Other things are very different. It's an alternate world where some technological and scientific advances came a lot earlier than in our world. There is mention towards the end, when a kind of pivotal part to play, that the DNA molecule was discovered in the late 19th century instead of in the 1950s, like in our world, and then there's been knock-on effects in this world from all that. Another major change is World War II. World War II ended in the world of this book after a soldier hugged Adolf Hitler in a parade, and he had a live landmine in his backpack which he detonated. Hitler was killed, and the Germans, in disarray, kind of sued for peace. They took part in peace talks with the Allies, which resulted in something called the Gothenburg Agreement, which saw the Germans were not humiliated in peace like they were in our reality, and they kind of like became a partner with the Allies, and the German advanced scientific research was probably even more advanced than in our reality, was kind of shared out among the Allies for their own use, and this resulted in a manned multinational moon landing in the 1950s, you know, 10, 20 years before when it happened in our reality. Now most of this background is described in like the opening chapter of this book, and it's not really a global, wide sweeping geopolitical, technological story like I might be letting you in on. This is kind of like just the background, which is kind of drip fed to us throughout the book. There are 3 main viewpoint characters who kind of slowly let you into their worlds. The first one is Vincent. Now, Vincent is a young boy around 13, I believe, who has been brought up in what they call a Sycamore home. This is a scheme that was set up after the war. We don't know all the detail of it till later on in the book. That's part of the ongoing mystery of the book. Vincent is one of 3 triplets. Vincent, William, and Lawrence, I believe it is. Sorry if I've got that name wrong. I only read it 12 hours ago, but never mind. And all 3 of these boys have known no other life than living in this Sycamore home, and their particular one is called the Captain Scott home, and they idolise Captain Scott as some great hero, of course. And it soon becomes clear that all of their knowledge basically comes from a a set of 1950s type world book sort of encyclopedias which kind of glorify the achievements of the British Empire and that type of thing. That's the sole source of their knowledge, and they kind of fetishize this set of encyclopedias as part of their routine of education, and they are looked after in these homes. It's obvious that these homes have seen better days, and the money and the facilities are running low. And they often mention that there used to be many more boys there, and like the three triplets are like the last remaining ones. And they are looked after at this home by three women. There's Mother Morning, Mother Night, and I think Mother Day or something similar. And the clue is in the names. The Mother Morning has like the morning shift, and then there's the day shift, and then there's the night shift. And these women are kind of semi-mysterious to Vincent and his brothers. We don't know much about them. They're kind of like semi-mystical figures to the boys. They look after them, they teach them, and they also, for reasons which became clear later in the book, every morning they note down the dreams that the boys had. And if the boys get up to anything naughty or disrespectful, they write down the details of that in the Book of Guilt. So that's where the title comes from. Now, these boys are growing up fairly fast, but they're very, very naive about the outside world. They don't have television or radio. They have limited contact with the local area. They occasionally allowed to go in with one of the mothers for an errand into the shops. And it's there we see that the locals don't really like them around. We don't know why for a long part of this book. They're kind of hostile to them. The mystery angle is what kind of drives this book for at least the first 100 up to maybe 200 pages. It's a mystery box. What are these Sycamore Homes? What's the secret? What's going to happen to these boys? And we don't really learn all the details for maybe the last 150 pages. Excuse me. Part of the legacy of one of the colds I've had over the last couple of months. Anyway, the other viewpoint character is Nancy. And we don't learn a lot about Nancy until the later section of the book. We see her living with her parents, who seem to be a generation older than other people's parents, and she has been confined to a house. She is not allowed out. She's not allowed to talk to any visitors that visit the house. And her parents kind of dote on her and treat her in an infantile way, even though she is a young teenager, it seems. Reason for all this we don't know until much later in the book, but it's a very creepy ongoing thing, the presence of her parents and Nancy, and the things she's allowed to do and not allowed to do, and they keep making her wear a certain dress or put certain piercings in her ears or eat certain foods even though she says she doesn't like them. There's a recurring thing where her parents make her eat baked beans on toast that she doesn't like, but she says they say yes, you like it. It's hard to tell what's really going on in the Nancy thread for quite a while. And the third thread is titled The Minister of Loneliness. We don't actually get an explanation of why it's called that. Is it an actual her title, or is it a description of her? No, it's a young to middle-aged woman who has been promoted to a cabinet position as a minister in the new government headed by the female Prime Minister. And her remit is to do something about these Sycamore Homes and the children in them. Apparently there's been recent shocking event involving kids that were in the Sycamore Home that has traumatised the public. We don't go into any details about that for quite a long time in the book. Excuse me. And this Minister of Loneliness has basically been given the task to close down these homes and rehouse the children in them with families, normal families. And to do this, she's producing catalogues for people to buy the kids from, basically, and choose the kids, or all sorts of efforts like that. And she, as part of this, she visits in the home and she kind of befriends the boys in the Captain Scott home, and most especially Vincent, the other narrator. Now, as things evolve, we find that the Minister of Loneliness, I think her name ends up being Sylvia, has quite a attachment to the boys and is quite traumatised by what she finds out about things that are going on. Okay, so that's the three viewpoint characters. Now, like I said, the main mystery of this book is what is the purpose, what is the reason of the Sycamore Homes? They were set up by a gentleman called Alistair Roach, a scientist, and he's a fleeting presence in the book. He comes and goes, checks the boys out, asks them various things, does medical experiments on them, basically. And he's kind of semi-sinister presence in the book. Of course, the mystery probably goes on a little too long. It's hard to sustain that type of thing in a book like this. Things start to accelerate and things start to fall apart. The boys start learning the true nature of what's going on. And a big key point is Margate. The boys are excited because they know other boys that used to live at the home were contacted and given a brochure saying that they're going to go to Margate. Now, Margate is like this semi-mythical pleasure land which they all dream of going to. Of course, it's a real place in Kent, a kind of a seaside leisure resort that's seen better days. Now, these boys think it's the land of their dreams, and they dream of going to Margate, and that is one of their ambitions. And one of the reasons that they act good to the mothers is they think they'll get a trip to Margate. In Margate, they think they'll go and live in a big house with all the other boys that have been sent there, and it'll be lollipops and unicorns and or what have you. Of course, as the book goes on, the whole Margate thing becomes a bit more sinister, and being sent to Margate takes on a whole new meaning, which I probably don't need to explain to you. I've said enough. Anyway, sinister, unsettling, sour maybe tone to this book is quite oppressive. It certainly has a mood. It's a kind of frightening, unsettled, weary mood. A couple of places it kind of put me off the scent of what I thought was going on, and different things were going on, and it's a lot more involved than I thought. It's been compared to Never Let Me Go by Ishigaru. I can tell you the ultimate thing is not the same as in that book, but it's very similar. Yes, so it takes about 150 to 200 for a lot of the secrets to come out. I think, like I said earlier, that may have been a little bit long. It's laid on a really thick, but when the secrets come out, they start coming out rapidly. The boys learn why they're there, what they're doing there, and their possible fates. And this is all mixed up with Nancy's story and the minister's story. The minister is trying to get them rehomed and socialised into society. Meanwhile, other forces are acting against us, and Nancy's story ends up as quite pivotal to their story, and the minister kind of bridges both of them in the end. And I feel like if I describe any more, I will be spoiling this book. It is very much worth a read. It's unsettling, disturbing, but says a lot about how we think of ourselves, how we think of others. There's a siren going on outside, you probably can hear. It's a disturbing book, but rewarding. The reader does learn a lot of these things before the characters. They kind of learn what's going on before the characters kind of twig to what's going on, and that kind of leads to it being more disturbing and unsettling. You want to tell these characters, no, don't do this, don't do that, but you can't, of course, because of their characters. And so that's pretty much my thoughts on this book. It's very much worth reading. The hype was believable for this one. I'm not sure if you're not into this type of story that you'd like it. Like I said, it borders on genre fiction. There's a lot of this alternate history stuff that's drip-fed throughout the book. Ultimately, a lot of it doesn't make any great difference to the story, but it is a reason for why things happen in the story. So that's my review of Catherine Chidgey's book, The Book of Guilt. I'm pretty much sure it's been published most places around the world by now, and I enjoyed it. Not a light-hearted or fun read. It's serious, but quite gripping and compelling. Okay, we'll be back with another review shortly.